Do you live in the US and want fast, fresh and tasty meals without the hassle of shopping or all that hard work preparation? Well, don't you worry, as a lazy man, I've got you covered. Try America's #1 meal kit service, HelloFresh, and get yourself fresh, pre-portioned ingredients delivered direct to your door. So why not eat well, stay healthy, and avoid the cost of regular takeout by trying HelloFresh? Just click the link in the description below for a special limited time discount and free shipping as well. Enjoy. Well, this is potentially a very big episode for Distillery, not only in the context of our European run and our season, but also in the quest to turn professional. We've got a friendly-ish draw in the second qualifying round in Europe. We'll go out in the third if we get there. But for now, can we make it through an extra round and with it, bring in an extra $250,000? Let's go and find out. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 81 of Lifting Spirits from Distillery with me, Daniel. We are back today for our second European qualifier. We face Breidablik of the Icelandic League for a place in the third round. And if we get there, we're going to Dutch Giants PSV. So it's definitely a more difficult game if we get through, but it's a real chance to go one better than last year. And when we got to the third round the first season in Europe, it made a difference of about 300,000 to last one. There's also a little bit of transfer work to get through. We'll have a look at what's been going on in the nation as well. And of course, we'll keep an eye on the other sides and their European exploits. So if you're looking forward to all of that, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. We've still got a little bit of work to do to solve our squad registration issues, but we're halfway there towards solving the problem. So let's go and start with that news. The transfers, both for us and for the Northern Irish Premiership. And if we start with ours, it's a very simple strategy, really. The two signings since the last episode have been the two players that we expected to come in, and the players that have gone out of the club are the ones that we pretty much expected on loan. So Jared Hazeldine featured in the first leg of that Trepen game last time. He then went out on loan to Bangor. We also sent out another youngster to the third tier as we continue to try and develop these kids. But we got the two big players in that we looked at. Tom Robinson joins from Brackley for £24,000, centre midfielder, 20 years of age, and crucially is an improvement on what we had as backup before, but also meets the squad registration of being under 21. He will go like for like in the squad, replacing Barry Bagley, and he gives us that opportunity to develop a youngster. He actually looks very good, to be fair, so I'm excited to see what he's going to do. But the big signing of the summer is Cameron Goss. There's no doubt about that. Yes, he's got to work on his composure. His anticipation's not the best, but he is the best centre-half we have had in this save by a long way. He is a brilliant player, very good attributes physically, very good in the key areas technically, and he's got great positioning and concentration, which I value in a defender. So looking forward to him making his competitive debut today, but overall, we've got two of the ones in we wanted. We probably got to accept we're not getting that striker now, but we are trying to deal with this under 21 issue, and we need one more to come into the squad. And that's why this guy is potentially coming on loan. It's not a position we actually need a player. But I'm looking at it and thinking, can we loan out either one of the centre halves, or can we get rid of Kennedy, who we bought in the summer? He goes and gets experience for a year, and this guy just fills the squad quota, because Che Boardley is the first young star I've found within our wage structure who we can get on loan for the year, who does a job pretty solidly for the team. Very similar to what we had with Michael Hammond a few years ago. Good personality too, solid at his job. And if we can get a McClelland or someone like that off the wage bill, if we can potentially sell a Harley Jones who's unhappy, then it gives us the option to keep the squad depth whilst ticking the under 21 box. Because at the moment, there's someone who's not going to get registered and we'll only be able to play them in the cups. So that would be a little bit frustrating. We'll come to that again in a moment. But let's very quickly show you the schedule, see how we got on in the second leg against Trepen, and it was very similar. We rested nearly everyone and still won 8-1. Very upset we let in a goal late on because it should have been a clean sheet. But 2 for Wilson, 2 for Aitken again, who got a start. Jones, Kean and Kennedy got 1 each, and Muckle Hatton off the bench too. It's a really good performance. 23-1 on aggregate. And I've got to show you as well, just in case you think it was just us. If we go and have a look at what happened in the Larne tie, they won the second leg 13-0 at home. So the San Marinese teams are the worst in that competition, and we were just lucky that we both got them. Unfortunately, Glentoran went out despite a 2-1 win in the away leg. Linfield are behind in the first leg of the Champions League second qualifier. So there's a few signs that things are going wrong this year, but we'll see how it progresses. Of course, if we get to PSV after this, we ain't going to win. We'll enjoy it nonetheless. What I very quickly wanted to show you from the Northern Irish League, though, is a big upgrade on the transfer front, because if we go to the end of last season first, just so you can see, a few players coming in towards the end there. Larne and Linfield did a big swap for players that they both needed. Larne also getting in a free agent deal or two, which was going to improve them. So Kai Smutek came in as a centre-half option. Tony Gallagher from Dunfermline, an experienced left-back on the cheap. And overall, a lot of players coming into the nation. Some good players further down the division as well. I was looking at like Dungannon, who I don't even think are in the top tier at the minute. Let me just go and check that fact. They are now. They've got some really good players at their club. So there is progress being made. This year, you can see the money's being splashed a bit. Of course, we paid 25 grand for a player. You've got someone going to Coleraine from Scotland, which is good to see that they're making signings from elsewhere. It's a decent little winger as well, plenty of pace. TNS signed Ben Williams from us, but look at the players coming in. Linfield signing a Northern Irish player from Blackburn, full international at 24. We're talking about a good level of footballer here. This is a player who has played 20 games for Blackburn, 14 for Preston, lots of EFL experience, played in the Scottish Premiership. We're talking about a much higher level than we've seen before. We also get Larne bringing someone in from Fleetwood, a good goalkeeper. They've also brought in a free agent from Cardiff who looks a super striker. And he also went for a player from Rotherham for 400,000, a current under-21 international, and one that looks like he's going to be a full international before too long. So the big two are definitely still going big. It's a big worry for me because there are players that we would like to be able to sign and can't, as we saw in the last episode. And of course, until we go pro, we can't compete financially. So even now when these guys are releasing players, we're not really able to compete for them at first. So that's the big issue at the minute. But great to see the top two going big and others improving a little. Now let's go and get through to the fixtures into our first leg and see how we get on against the Icelandic side. Because on paper, this is a pretty even match. They've got a couple of good players. Again, it's not a league that's loaded. We haven't gone that far. But they've got a goalkeeper on £3.5 grand a week who's good. Played for Wolves, has played for this club for a long time and seems to be pretty good on paper. But there's still a few greyed out players. I would expect us to come through this tie. The question is, how do we get on in the first leg? Can we get ourselves on the front foot? We're playing this more positive mindset this year. We're hoping it'll pay dividends. And of course, to add to that, we've got a competitive debut for Goss. We've got Robinson on the bench for the first time. David Aitken is apparently missing out as it stands. I'm not sure I'm going to allow that. I think we're going to bring off McClelland, who is part of a problem at the minute, really, because McClelland and Bagley are the two we're going to let go. Bagley because he's not good enough and we've got in the replacement. And McClellan because we've got 8 defenders. And this guy, he's out of contract at the end of December. He won't sign a new deal. He is one of the elder statesmen at the club, but his personality is nowhere near as good as Jake Cooper. And he fell away towards the end of last season. So I was trying to sell those two, loan them out, whatever it is. No interest already, which is really annoying. You'd think for some teams in the top tier, they'd be able to get a player of this standard and really help themselves. As it is, it's not to be. So we'll wait and see how it works out. But for us, we could have one more debutant off the bench. We've definitely got one from the start. And it's Goss who comes in for Harley Jones. He's still throwing his toys out the pram. I know he scored those 5 goals in the first leg, but that's not enough against that Sam Aranese team. The rest of the team is as you would expect it to be. Still no offers for Brian Varma. So it's Neil Kane in goal, Wilson and Bell the fullbacks, Kean and Goss a centre-half. Whitehall and Daniels the midfield two, Poate and Varma the wingers. And then Morgan Griffiths behind McElhatton up front. 7 for the season so far. Let's hope he can fill his boots today. It's certainly not going to be 15-0 this one. But based on what we've seen of teams with largely greyed out players, particularly going back a couple of years before we loaded some of the leagues, I do think at home we'll win this by a few. If we don't, we're going to be in trouble for the next game. We saw it with Swedish opposition 2 years ago. We only got a 1-goal lead and it cost us. Well, let's go and see what we do today. Breidablik are visiting us over here in Northern Ireland, and at a sparsely populated Windsor Park, we need to get ourselves an advantage. Well, again, the usual process for a side with a greyed out team. No manager and only 6 players on the bench, but the rest of it is pretty good. They've got the keeper who is captain. We're favourites for a reason though, and this is a great position to be in. It's all because of the work of Larne and Linfield. that we're able to get a tie like this in the second qualifier. We know that Larn have got a game against Viborg, a side that we absolutely adored managing in FM22. But today, I'm sorry Viborg, I've got to support the mighty Larn because we need help in Northern Ireland. We'll see if we get it in this one. Fingers crossed both of us will come through. If you want to see that save, it's in the eye above because they are a fantastic club. Into the first half of our Europa Conference League game. Loving the graphics, loving the setup. Not loving the attendance at Windsor Park. It's under 500 again. But let's see how we get on in the first half and whether or not we can get the first goal. Well, here we are with just 4 on the clock. It's a Daniels free kick. Are we going to have the same dominance from set pieces? It looked like it. Kean headed back across goal. McElhatton puts it just wide. It was an acute angle, maybe a little trickier. And look at the disaster at the bottom of the screen. We said they were a good club. We've managed them before. Larn are 2-0 down at home already to Viborg. We knew they had that in them. But if Larn struggle at the second qualifier, the side that have had so much of the coefficient in recent years, there is going to be a big onus on Linfield because we ain't making it past PSV. And that's even if we win this one. It's 0-0, it's nearly half time. Yes, we've had the better of the game, but we've certainly not dominated. I'm a little bit concerned now because if we both go out, this will be a bad year for Northern Ireland, and it's just as we broke that top 30. Imagine the difference if we'd won the league as Puarte down the right. Can we at least get an advantage of some sort? Big ball forward from the visitors. It's cleared away by Kean to Puarte. Griffiths can't get there. We are struggling to break them down a bit. They've got the back 4 and 2 in front, and Griffiths has been anonymous as a result. McElhatton's not really had a threat, though Varma nicks the ball high there. Daniels plays in McElhatton. Goes back to his centre-half Kean again. Very cautious, but the long ball causes a misjudgment. And McElhatton puts it wide. We've not had many of them, you've got to be fair. Are Larn coming back into it? They are. Larn have got one back. We're going to need them because we're struggling here as Puarte gives the ball away, but Whitehall wins it immediately. Gets it again, goes back to Kean. No rush to get it in the box here. Goss not having the best game on debut. I might bring Jones on again as Whitehall concedes possession again. Big punt downfield. Let's be fair. The Icelandics look like they're happy with a 0-0, but they're defending well, which is not something we've seen from other sides, as Varma on the left back to Bell. Chance to carry it forward. Just play short to Daniels. Into Griffiths. We need something from him. Whitehall picks it up again. Beats the challenge this time. Wide to Puarte. Good first touch to take on the fullback. Into McElhatton. And finally, just before the hour mark, we get the breakthrough. Let's hope it's the start of the fatigue and we can take advantage. And let's hope that Larn get another goal, because at the moment, this has not been a particularly comfortable night for Northern Irish football. Breidablik hit the bar with a free kick straight after. With 25 to go. I think we've got to think about changes here. We've dominated the match fine. There's no complaints about that. We've not had a real cutting edge, have we? McElhatton's not been great despite scoring, so I'm going to bring on Mark Wilson. So I'm going to take Goss off on his debut for Harley Jones. Daniels is complacent, so Robinson on. And we'll leave the last two a few more minutes. But for now, 1-0 to Lisburn Distillery. And I'm not confident, based on previous years, that that's going to be enough. So let's see if we can get a second here with Jones to Bell. Robinson, the new signing on, finds Whitehall. It's a good ball, that. Making the run is Griffiths on the right-hand side. Wilson's in the middle. It's a good tackle by the defender. On the yellow, it was a risk, but he got there. Jones wins the header again, though. He's dominant in the air. Can't get anyone in on the end of it, though, and it's back out into midfield. Breidablik on the counter. And an equaliser would be a disaster here. Good Johnson crosses. There's 2 in there. Kean heads up, but not really away. It's just out wide again. Chance to cross. It goes into the box. Neil Kane deals with it. Just over 15 to go. Do you know what? We don't look like we're going to run away with this tie. And I'm a little bit concerned for the second leg as Robinson finds Whitehall. Chance to play wide. Instead just carries it. It's had a decent game, actually, as Puarte puts in Wilson. Rounds the keeper. Oh, my words. You have got to be kidding me. He's rounded the keeper and then not hit it with enough power to go in. That's offside for the centre forwards. You've got to give that referee. How have you missed Mark Wilson? That is a criminal offence, that one. Larn's still 2-1 down. We'll make our final subs. Bell off at left back for Kennedy. And then going forward, what do we do? It could be Varma from Pardy. We'll go for an inverted winger. I think that's the route we're going to go for now. We'll put Puarte on there. We'll just see how it comes off. We're trying to play on the front foot. We're doing well. But you can't miss chances like that. 1-0, it deserves to be more. But we've got to prove that in front of goal as Griffiths find Kennedy. Up to Robinson, the sub. Can he make an impact? To Pardy. cleared away from the cross. Back to Jones, who finds Whitehall. Into Morgan Griffiths. Wide to Mpardi. Cleared away again as far as Kean. We've got them camped in their half, but can we take advantage? Griffiths again for the third time. Has Mpardi wide. Back to Wilson. Mpardi makes the run. Got to square it. You've got to square it. He doesn't need to. He saw Wilson miss the open goal and decided to go alone. And Jaffet Mpardi, this is the difference. In Robinson, in Mpardi, in Jones, in Wilson. 4 players that probably would have started last year. They've come on and changed the game. As Callum Wilson heads that one wide. It's a big part of our game getting the fullbacks up in support. But 2-0, and that might make the difference. Can we make it 3? 90th minute as Puarte loses it. Ball's into midfield for the Icelandic side, but good interception from Robinson. Whitehall finds Mpardi. Chipped into Wilson. Make amends. He's missed another one. It's over the bar. Griffiths has picked up a knock. Remind me whatever I do not bring Wilson on in the next tie unless we're desperately behind. Because he is no better than McElhatton. We definitely need to stick with him. I'm almost tempted as my other under-21 signing to bring Corey Craig back from Linfield and just sell Wilson altogether. But I'm going to stick with it for now. I'm not going to overreact. It's a 2-0 win. It's a good result. But is it enough? Well, time for the second leg. And the big news is not from us. It's from Larne. They got a 95th minute equaliser against Viborg, which gives them a shout into the second leg. You'd still argue they're probably underdogs though. Just want to see what happened to Linfield on Tuesday because they were definitely on the way out. What did they do? They lost 2-0. So Cluj beat them 5-1 on aggregate. It's a very tricky tie that. So Linfield dropped down a competition now. We'll see if they can make it to the groups. I think they might be the only hope after tonight. Hopefully we can get past Breidablik, but PSV will then be tricky. I think we're going to go for the same 11 as last time because the performance was good. And to be fair, we've just got to be resolute. I'm tempted to bring Harley Jones in, who has finally ended his unhappiness. But Goss is a good defender. And on a day like this, that's what we're going to need. So let's go and get through to it. You know the team by now. Off to Iceland in the Europa Conference. We're 90 minutes away from PSV. Well, it's a crude way of looking at it, but a win today and the pound signs start to roll in. And most importantly, the opportunity to maybe go professional is there at the end of this season. So let's see what side we can get away with in this first half. Will we have to make changes? Will it be as full strength? And are we going to be able to keep them at bay? That's the big question. As early doors, 5 minutes gone. Lisburn Distillery, the side who are making the moves. It looks like we've had the only shots of the game. We're still playing positive. We're still trying to get on the front foot. We won't be doing that away in Holland if we get there. As Puarte picks it up on the right. Can we get that away goal? I'll say it would have put the tie over, but we got that against Salzburg last year, didn't we? Then proceeded to lose 6-1 as Puarte in for Griffiths just wide. It's a good opportunity that. Not really ignited yet this season, Morgan Griffiths. It's still early days, of course. Let's go and have a look at how Larne are getting on. I would imagine it's going to be a tricky night for them as we're 10 to half time. We've had a quiet half and that's all we can really ask for. A header goes wide from Kean. They've offered nothing going forward. Let's hope that remains the case. They are 1-0 down. This could be a very dark night for Northern Irish football. Linfield drop out of competition. Larne might drop out of Europe altogether. And that's going to hit their coefficient badly as Kean picks the ball up at the back. The onus is on us now to get through an extra round. Whitehall up to McElhatton. Gets there first and puts it wide. What's happened to our centre forwards? It was so easy against Trapen. They've probably forgotten that they have to actually work to score now. At half time we've been the better team. We are leading the game. But it's still 0-0 on the night. The tie is still in the balance. And we've got a yellow card for Goss. So I'm going to make the safe sub. Harley Jones back on. Oh, he looks complacent. No, I'm going for Jake Cooper. On comes the skipper. The big man to deliver. We've got 45 minutes to see this through. Of course, a win on the night benefits the coefficient as well. So it would be great if we can nick a 1 or 2-0 win. And Kean has done just that. Up at the back post from a Sean Daniels corner. And finally, we take one of our chances. Not the most comprehensive win in the world, but a very good display so far. 3-0 on aggregate, 1-0 on the night. And the coefficient is building for the club as it's forward again. Tateson picks it up here. Gets it wide on the right-hand side. And to be fair, this is the best we've done in Europe this year, isn't it? Is winning 4 matches. Because even when we got through that first year against Besiktas ridiculously, we lost the away leg. As it's a penalty kick, I might have spoken too soon. Against Salzburg, we went out in the second round. Here, we might be on our way through. But 4 wins might not be incoming because Breidablik get a penalty. It's a momentary lapse in concentration. And the penalty is thundered down the middle. Too powerful for Neil Kane. It's 1-1 on the night. 3-1 on aggregate. I might start to get nervy. We saw it against Salzburg. It didn't take much last year. Let's hope we can keep on top of this. I'm looking for Lahn's result again. It keeps slipping off the screen. I'm sure they're not going to be in it because Viborg are a good side. As Wilson gets the ball at the back for us. Come on. Get us a win on the night because PSV will beat us. So we need to get as many points as possible. Wilson to Kian. Back to Daniels. Long ball towards McElhatton. It's ambitious, I'll say that. Goalkeeping wasn't the best, but he gets it downfield. Kian wins the head of the goal scorer to Griffiths and Whitehall. Puarte looking for the run again. Takes on his man. He's done pretty well here. Beats his fullback. There's 2 in the middle. Gets to the byline. Back to Morgan Griffiths. And now he's off and running for the season. He's getting started. He's finally delivering. And Morgan Griffiths restores our lead on the night. There's 25 minutes to go. We'll see out this highlight. And then we'll look at a couple more changes as Cooper. Got to worry about, of course, the league games soon. They're coming up next week or so. As Kian picks the ball up in defence. Through to McElhatton. Could do with him getting a goal tonight. In he goes. Rounds the keeper. Doesn't make the same mistake as Mark Wilson. And now it is tie over. Let's go and party. We'll have a look at who we're going to bring on. On the bench, we've got some quality. Lewis Scott could come on for Varma, who's not had the best tie. I'm still trying to get him in the shop window, though. I might even bring on Aitken. He's not that much worse. Lewis Scott is one of the homegrown at the club, though, so maybe should be bought in. I'm going to go for Aitken. I know it's not the best move in the world. We could bring Bobby Harvey back in. Of course, we've got to get the soft spot for him showing up, haven't we? In midfield, I'm going to bring Robinson on again. Really want to build him up, but this time he'll come on for Whitehall. And then further forwards, it will either be Mpardi or maybe Harley Jones again, but I think I'm going to stick with it for now. 4 subs made, we'll give it 5 more minutes, then we'll decide the final one. Big news in Denmark. Lahn have equalised at Viborg. They might be in it yet. No away goals, of course, so they've just got to keep in it. Kian, the centre-half, is knackered. I'm going to bring on Harley Jones there. No need to risk injuries or anything else at this point. Let's just get the job done. 5 subs made, 15 to go. And we look very comfortable without being utterly dominant. They've actually come into the game second half. They've been the better team since the break. We've been the more ruthless. And on the counter where they're chasing it, we are creating opportunities. As Puarte by the byline. In the final minute of stoppage time, he's got the cross into Bell. Straight at the goalkeeper who does well. And we should see this out now. Even if they score, it'll be a consolation. And it will, in fact, be our best year in Europe. 4 wins. The coefficient will improve. We'll start to look like a very good team. It's a long ball forward, though. We might concede again. Jones caught out. It's 3-2 on the night. That's where my worry is with Harley Jones. We need a bit more from him than that. But in the 93rd minute, it should be pretty unimportant. Now, let's see how Lahn got on. We win 5-2 on aggregate. We get through to face PSV. And if we defend like that, it is going to be an absolute mauling, as we saw against Salzburg last year. Just cross your fingers. What is the score? Lahn, where are you? Oh, they've won it. Lahn winning extra time against Viborg. That is a pretty incredible effort because we know firsthand how good that Viborg side is. The league is loaded now as well. That's very good. Well done, Lahn. You have put in a stunning effort there. 4-3 on aggregate. I hope their 3rd round tie is easier than ours because otherwise, neither of us are getting through. More money into the club, which is a good bit of news. PSV, though, is going to be the end of our run. They are a pretty good side. We'll show you some of the players next time. But the big problem for us, if you look at the league season, we start on paper with arguably the 3 hardest games. So I know we're probably going to go out to PSV. But that backlog's going to make it a tricky start. If you did enjoy it and you're looking forward to a big game against PSV Eindhoven, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me know in the comments what you think of the transfers. Robinson, of course, looks a really good young signing. And which players are we going to have to get out? Because in the end, we've got to trim this squad a little bit. If you're looking forward to finding out who it is and how many we get beat by in the Netherlands next week, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. You won't want to miss it, but I'd turn off the goal alerts if I were you, because we'll be letting in a fair few when we go away there. But before that, we're back with a big episode of The Head Coach tomorrow as we finish our latest season over there. You can find the latest episodes up in the eye above, as well as the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and of course the blog story as well. But thank you very much for watching as always. It's going to be the trickiest August I think we've ever had. We'll go into it with some enjoyment and hopefully we'll cause a miracle.